stay with me, because at the end I'm going to tell you sellers, it could be the fault of your realtor why your home is not selling. I'm going to tell you. Just stay with me. I just want to help some people. Hey YouTube, welcome to my channel. Crystal welcomes you home, where I talk everything home, family, and real estate. You may or you may not know this, but I am a local realtor in Texas. I primarily service the Dallas, DFW, and North Dallas area. So if you are in need of a realtor in those areas, feel free to reach out to me on any one of my platforms. That's YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok, and Facebook at Crystal Welcomes You Home. Now, I know you can probably hear because of the title of this video, and let me tell you, it may be your realtor why your house has not sold. So I'm going to give you a story to help you understand why I'm making this claim. But before we get into story time, I want to talk to people who are not so educated or savvy on the real estate market. I want to talk about the interest rates. I want to discuss the housing market, and I want to discuss a little bit about what's going on in this last quarter of 2023 in the real estate economy. And I want to go back a little bit into history about how we got here, okay? And so bear with me, because I am driving to work, and this is like almost the best time for me to upload a video in the morning on the way to work, because I'm kind of by myself for a minute. So let's talk about it. So first of all, let's discuss the interest rates. We all know that the interest rates, if you don't know, I'm going to tell you now, the interest rates are at 8%, okay? In the past, 2019, 2020, 2021, and a large part of 2022, the interest rates were at a historical low. They were 3%, 4%, 5%, and they've even dropped as low as 2%. What is the interest rate? Well, for the people who don't know, it is what the bank is charging you to loan you the money to buy your home. So right now, those interest rates is 8%. So a lot of speculations, is a lot of talk and different rumors. Oh, you don't want to buy right now. The interest rates are super duper high. They're astronomical. You know, it's not the time to buy. I want to say that that's not true. That is the furthest thing from the truth. Now, let me tell you a bit about let's go into history when the interest rates were low. Because I was in the market as a realtor, so I know exactly what was going on, especially in Dallas. But I have realtor friends in different states, pretty much all over the country, and I can tell you this was a countrywide situation where this was happening all over the U.S. The interest rates were really low, which attracted buyers. When the interest rates are low and the cost of money is fairly reasonable, you'll notice more people are willing to buy at that time. Now, where the problem come in is when you have too many buyers, when there's more buyers than sellers, or just too many buyers out there, you risk the chance of going into what we were in for about 2 years straight, which we call a bidding war, where if there's a home for sale for, just to make the numbers really simple, $250,000, and you have 30 or 40 people interested in buying that home, which means it's a desirable home, then what will happen is a lot of buyers will decide to put extra money on top of the asking price so that their offer will be accepted. Because remember, you have one home, 30 buyers. You can only sell it to one. So in order to be that buyer that gets your offer accepted, realtors was gearing their buyers in a way of saying, well, do you have any money saved in case we go into a bidding war and you have to put down more money in order to get your offer accepted? Now, what was going on in Texas was there were people who were purchasing homes that were coming from New York, Washington, they were coming from New York, Washington, California, places where the cost of living in the housing market were pretty high. So they were able to sell their, I'm just going to throw some numbers out, 2,000 square foot home. They would sell those for like 600,000, 700,000 because that was the normal market for their state. They'll draw equity. And for people who don't know what equity is the amount of money that your house is worth less what you owe should you still have a mortgage. So let's say you have a house worth $300,000, you still owe $200 on the mortgage, you sell for $300, you take $100, you give the bank the $200 to pay off your debt, right? So people were selling their homes. They had a ton of equity, and they were coming to Dallas, Texas, or just Texas, period. And they had the money to say, you know what? I want this house. It's worth $250,000, and here I'm gonna slap an extra $50,000 on top of it to make sure that my offer get approved. So realtors and sellers were in a great spot. It was a complete seller's market. The interest rates were attractive, but it was not a buyer's market, meaning it wasn't a market favorable to buyers. And that's what a lot of agents and a lot of gurus aren't talking about. The interest rates were attractive, but the market wasn't attractive for buyers at the time, right? And I'm explaining to you now. Just sit still. I'm going to talk to you in layman's term, and I'm going to make sure you get it, okay? Stay with me. We got about 25 minutes. So what was happening, if you didn't have that extra cash just sitting there in your bank to be able to compete with the heavy hitters and the people who were out there, prepared for these bidding wars, then you couldn't buy. So in a normal market, a seller lists their home on the market and they're looking for a family to move into their community. Let's say they've lived in the house for 10 years, they raised their children are off and grown now, they love their neighbors. So now we're going to vet people to make sure we get the perfect family in this home so that my neighbors can still feel secure and they'll be happy that I brought the perfect family into the neighborhood. Well, when we had those low interest rates, people weren't thinking about that. People were thinking about, and I'll tell you what we heard the entire time: highest and best offer, highest and best offer, get the highest and best offer. That's all they wanted. They were looking at money. The more that they can get, the more that they want it, right? Now, this is the effects of that type of market. What happened, people were putting extra money over to buy these homes, which increased the home value at an abnormal rate. Meaning people were getting the amount of equity in their homes that would normally take 5 to 10 years to get, they were getting it in 2 years. Okay? Now, how that affected the average working citizen was this. When you apply for a mortgage, the mortgage loan originator and the underwriters and all the people that work on those mortgage loans to get it closed, they're looking at your debt to income ratio. They're looking at what you can afford, right? So if you got approved for a home based off of your income and the history of your income and how much money you brought in the last 2 or sometimes 4 years, when they calculate that number, they'll give you a pre-approval based off of what you can afford. So if you were pre-approved for a $300,000 home, and that's including taxes, insurance, and everything else, if your income proved to be able to cover that amount of a loan, then that's pretty much what you can afford. $300,000. The taxes, the insurance, everything. That's what you can afford. Now, here's where it got sticky. Because the interest rates remain low, there were tons of buyers still out there trying to get into those low interest rates, which it kind of reminds me of a store that I used to shop at in Michigan. This is kind of off the subject, but I'll get back on it. But it kind of reminds me of a store I used to shop at, and their slogan was for the educated shoppers, right? And I don't want to say that, but it kind of reminds me of that, right? Which is totally opposite than what I feel the people were doing when they were purchasing with those low interest rates. I don't think it was a time for the educated shoppers to buy, if that makes sense, without me offending anyone. But anyway, let me just keep forward. So now the interest rates are low. The desirability to move was still there. People were still ready to buy houses. And guess what? As the bidding wars continue, people were offering more and more and more to get these homes. And Americans, and I'm gonna get on this in a minute, some greedy Americans were trying to get as much as they can get from their homes, regardless whether it made sense or not. So now you bought your home at $300,000, but because the people around you have been selling homes, your same home, for $500,000 and $600,000, guess what happened? Your taxes went up. Guess what? Now you can't afford your home anymore. And that was the thing with those quote unquote low interest rates. With low interest rates, you had to go into bidding wars, meaning you had to have thousands of dollars set up just in case there was you had to offer more than what was asked to get your offer approved. And then after 2 years, people were getting priced out of the home because they could no longer afford the taxes. Let me give you an example of what that looked like. So you had people who were paying, let's say, $1,800. This is a true story. I know this is a true scenario. I've got to plug my phone. Hold on, guys. All right. So you had people who were paying $1,800 a month on their mortgage, and in 2 years they were at like 27, almost 3,000, because of the inflation, because of the property value increasing so rapidly. Now, in most cases, if your home increased over 10 to 15 years, no problem. 5 years, no problem. Because guess what? You're going to probably get another job, start a business. Your kids getting older. They're able to work now. So they're bringing income into the house. Well, 2 years was just not enough time for a person to go from $100,000 a year to $250,000 or $300,000 a year. I mean, those numbers are a little bit big, but you get the gist of it, right? So that was what was going on during the time that they, had those attractive interest rates. People started selling their homes. People began to get divorced because they were having financial issues, couldn't afford the mortgage payment. So that's what was going on during that time, okay? So, fast forward to now. And, most Americans, oh my God, the feds are price gouging, and they're charging astronomical prices for mortgages, and they're trying to take money from us. Let me just say this. And I usually stay pretty neutral with the public versus what they feel about the federal government, because, I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't care, really. It's just not something that I focus on. But I do want to say this. In this case, the feds had no choice but to increase interest rates because inflation would have gone through the roof and destroyed our economy. Because as long as, and I'm gonna call them greedy, as long as some greedy Americans can get more than what their home is worth, they were going to try to get it, right? They wanted the highest and best, right? And we all know that the real estate economy controls the financial economy. There's nothing else on earth that controls the financial economy like real estate. On a broad scale, more people will pay for their rent and mortgage before they buy food, clothes, minerals, which is jewelry or whatever, and any of that other things out there that is high in commodity. Now, I'm not trying to say those things aren't of value. I'm just basically stating from an educated point of view that real estate controls the economy. Real estate determines whether you're going to have fun or you're going to tuck it in. And with those low interest rates, people were having fun. Okay? Now the interest rates went up a little bit so that homeowners can begin to start pricing their homes at realistic dollar amounts again and get out of this inflated mindset. Okay? Now, what do I mean by that? So it's no secret that homeowners were price gouging. You know, they may have the perfect family that will blend well with the community. The home was listed at $400,000. They're able to afford that $400,000. The school would have been perfect for their children. But if somebody came in with $450,000, throw that family out the window. Let's go with the $450,000. And that's what we were going. That's what was happening. That is exactly what was happening. So when people tell me they don't want to buy right now because the interest rates is high, I tell them in a minute, you couldn't afford to buy when the interest rates were low. And first I ask them, how much money do you have saved up for the purchase? Now if they tell me $100,000, $50,000, $60,000, $30,000, okay. But if they tell me, well, I don't have that much saved up, well, you couldn't. I'm not going to even say $50,000 because, listen, okay, I don't want to go too far off the subject, but I literally I was doing an open house and a family walked in from Dubai, and the house was, I think, $475 or whatever, had a pool in McKinney, Texas, and the family walked in. I said, will this be a cash purchase or will you guys be getting a mortgage? The husband said, no, this is cash. And we have $50,000 to put over asking. Do you have any offers? So they were willing to put an extra $50 on top of $475 to make sure that they got this beautiful home, right? So I just want to say that. So, is now a time to purchase? Absolutely. Now let me get into a little bit of why now is the time to purchase, and I'll tell you, stay with me, because at the end I'm gonna tell you the sellers who clicked on this video why it could be your realtor. It could be the fault of your realtor why your home is not selling. I'm gonna tell you. Just stay with me. I just want to help some people out. So now is a good time to buy a home at the 8% interest rates, and it's the perfect time, and I'll tell you why. Because homes are sitting on the market, where it was a time where homes were selling a day or 2 days, or even before they even hit the market, just on coming soon. They had offers already. You know, you have an open house and you get 10 offers at the open house, and 7 of them are willing to put down more cash over the asking price. We're not going through that anymore. Guess what? We got houses sitting on the market for 100 days, 200 days, right? Because people aren't buying like they were. So what happens when a home sits on the market? I'll tell anyone, and this has been my thing straight across the board, the first week that your home is listed, that you list your home on the MLS, right? When that home becomes live, that first 7 days is going to tell you how much your home is worth by the attraction you get and the offers you get. If you don't get any offers in the first 7 days, there's a high chance that you may not sell that house. And if you do, it's gonna sit on the market for about 6 months, and you're gonna have to drop the price quite a lot. Okay, so that part. So now that the homes are sitting on the market longer, and people aren't selling because they're trying to get $1 million house or move into their dream home that's $2.5 million. People are still selling because they absolutely have to. One, they've been priced out. Now they can't afford the taxes on the home that they bought with that 2% or 3% or 4% interest rate. Or someone passed in the family and they need to move back home to, and they inherited a home or a job, moved them to a different location. So there's reasons where people absolutely have to sell, right? So, and now you don't have as many buyers. So there's not a lot of competition out there, right? So now you can go, if you have a great realtor who really knows how to research the market in which you're looking to move into, they can find you a great deal. Now you can ask for seller's concessions. Back in the day, back to 2 years ago, 3 years ago, there was no such thing of a seller's concession. You better hope your offer get approved. Accept it. And you got to do everything. I mean, you have people going saying they don't want an inspection. They don't want option period. They just want the house. Option period meaning a time for you to reflect, get the house inspected, see if this is really what you want. People will be like, I waived the option period. I know I want this home. How can you compete with that? And I'm going to put $20,000 on top. How can you compete with that? Right? Well, now, because the houses are sitting and there's not too many buyers out there, you can say, hey, listen, I want to get seller's concessions, meaning, can you help me with the down payment? I want the sellers to help me with my down payment. I want the sellers to help me buy down points so I can have a desirable interest rate. And at 8%, you can do that. Now at 10 and 11 and 12%, it's going to take some thousands to get that interest rate to look attractive. That's why I say now is the best time to purchase. Don't let nobody tell you because the interest rates are high you don't want to buy. That's the listen. That's the furthest from the truth. Now is the time to buy. Now let's talk to the sellers for a minute, because now I'm going to roll around to what what this video was all about. Is now a time to sell? Absolutely. A lot of sellers, well, it's not a lot of buyers and da-da-da-da. Now is the time to sell your home. Now is the time, if you need to sell your home. If you desire to sell your home. Because you can grab that equity, you can move to a desirable area, still have enough money to pay down your rates, and put down extra money to get to pay down the purchase price. Okay? A larger down payment. What you don't want to happen is for the interest rates to go into the double digits. Because remind you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, once the interest rate go into the double digits, there are going to still be people that have to sell. And it's going to be much more difficult to buy down the interest rates once they are astronomically high. So what does that mean for you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller? Well, if it's difficult to buy down the rates because they're at 10 and 11%, perhaps, even 9% perhaps, then people really aren't going to buy. They really aren't going to buy. Guess what? But your 3 neighbors in your neighborhood who have to sell, they're going to take highest and best. And highest and best may be $100,000 less than what you paid for your home. So now you're losing equity and you're losing your money. Don't say I didn't warn you. So this is a market where I haven't seen since the early 2000s, and maybe like a little pinch of the late 1900s, like 1998, 1999, up until like 2000, right before the pandemic, where the market is feasible for both the sellers and the buyers. And you don't have that doesn't last very long. It kind of it goes through this, it equals out, and then it picks a side. And it picks a side. So it'll seem equal for a minute, and then there's going to be a side chosen, right? So let me tell y'all this story. This is so funny. So I had a buyer. Now this is for the sellers out there. I had a buyer who was interested in a home that was listed for $425. Right? So I did the comps, and I kind of did my research on what the houses should go for in that area. So I called the listing agent, and I said, hey, I don't really like to waste ink, so I want to run these numbers by you before I go ahead and write this offer. But my buyer is interested in putting an offer on your listing at blah 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 street, and they're looking to write this proposed offer for $398,900. The seller said, that's offensive. And I can tell you right now, the agent said, that's offensive. And I can tell you right now, my sellers are going to decline it. I said, you don't want to run this offer? Because as a realtor, you have to run all your offers by your client. I said, you don't want to, present this offer? He said, okay, let me present it. 2 minutes later, they rejected it. They said they don't want to do business. They don't want that. They don't want the offer. They're not going to accept it. And I said, no counter? Because you don't just reject an offer on a house. Wait, let me tell you. On a house that's been on the market 87 days. You don't reject that offer, right? Or have you just been rejecting offers, right? And then so, what are the numbers? And are they, because then you have to say, okay, I got an offer for $4. I got an offer for $398. I got an offer for, and you got to kind of gauge what the offers are to kind of help your client to come up with a realistic price point for their particular home based off the offers that you've gotten. I told you the first 7 days is going to tell you what your house is worth. And then every day that your home sit on the market after 1 week, it loses value. So even if the house was worth $425 when he first listed it, not 87 days later when you had 300 people walk through it. All right. So I said, are you going to do a counter offer? He waited 5 minutes, and then he texted me back and said, $420, and that's it. I said, okay, well, should anything change if my client is not under contract, please let me know. Guess what? That house is on the market for $398,900. They brought the price down to $398,900 after they called to see if my client was still interested, but at this time, my client was already under contract. So you let a sale walk past, and guess what? My client got the same house, same model, same, for the same amount in that area. This person said no. Now, when the next person do the comps, or when an appraiser does the comps, they're going to see this same model, same home, well, probably not same, well, kind of like, almost, let's put it like this, same square footage, same bedroom size. Same square footage size, same amount of bedrooms. When they do the comps, they're like, wait, this home sold for, so they asked for, you understand what I mean? It still has to comp. You still have to, it has to appraise. I'm sorry. So, that, to me, that client, that agent was thinking about his own pockets. He wasn't thinking about the best interest of his client, if you ask me. He was in it for his commission. I had another scenario where someone I knew listed their home about $40,000 over what it was worth. They had an open house in the first week. An investor came in and said, I'll give you $435 for it, or $432,900 or something like that. And the agent said, no, we're not going to take that. We're not going to let them lowball us. And so I asked the sellers, I said, what happened? I said, oh no, my agent said don't do it. They're not going to lowball us. I said, no. You need to counter that. Okay, don't just say no. Counter that and try to get a comfortable, see what you can do that's comfortable for both. Well, didn't listen to me. House set on the market for about maybe 3 more months, almost 4 more months. Guess what she sold the house for? $432. So I believe that if agents realtors, set realistic expectations for your sellers. Let them know we are not in the market that we used to be in. It was a market where you could sell your home, pay off all your debt, even debt you haven't even accumulated yet. But now we're in a market where you have to literally sit down and be realistic with what you owe the bank for your home, how much you want to walk away, how much equity do you want to walk away with, and if in fact you got a buyer that needs assistance or concessions, how much are you willing to give in concessions? That's the conversation. It is not at highest and best anymore. It's not, I can sell your home in a week. It's not, we're going to have a bidding war. That's not going on right now. I mean, it should. I mean, you want me to give my personal opinion? It should be. Because the interest rates are still in the sweet spot, projected to go up. So people should still be fighting over homes. However, people are listening, not fighting like physically, but bidding wars. People are listening to the news, they're listening to the gurus, and they're listening to the wrong people, and you're going to get tricked out of not purchasing a home. And guess what's going to happen? You're going to pay 100% interest on your rental. And that's going to go up every single year, guaranteed. So, could it be your realtor while your home is sitting on the market? Yes. What can I do to remedy this, Crystal? I mean, this could be happening to me right now. I don't know, because I don't believe that realtor, and this is just my personal opinion, I don't believe that realtor actually presented my offer to the sellers. He knew that what his bottom line was and what he wanted to make off of that home, and that was it. He was not going to cut his commission. So could he have done it? He probably did. Did he steer them wrong or have an influence on them, with their decision? Probably so. But this is what I want to tell sellers. And this is going to make me very unpopular in the real estate industry, but I don't care, because I didn't go into business to help realtors buy and sell homes. I went into the business to help regular people like myself purchase homes, sell homes, invest in real estate, and have an understanding of what the market is and what to expect. This is what I would do. If I was not a realtor and I needed to sell a home, I would tell my realtor to list. I would open me up start a email account just for the sale of my home. And I would tell my realtor, list my personal email as the email for all of the offers to come through. That way I'll know every single offer that comes through the door. I would then take the offer to my realtor and then discuss whether or not we should accept the offer. That way you'll be sure that there's no offers that you didn't get on your desk, and because your realtor is trying to save money, and then or trying to, more concerned about his or her commission, and that way you'll be able to have a little bit more control, right? So there you have it. That's what I wanted to say. I've made it to my destination. Thanks for riding with me, guys. I really appreciate this. Listen, if you like this type of content, because I like giving it, subscribe to this channel, like this video, share this video with as many people as you can. Help me to get my following up, and I will commit to bringing raw, concise, understandable information to this channel so that you guys can understand what the real estate market is going through. Right now we're at fourth quarter of 2023. Interest rates are still attractive. Sellers are still in a sweet spot where they're able to get a nice amount of their equity. They probably just have to help out a little bit with the seller. Sellers are still able to get those attractive interest rates if they put more money down, do sellers concessions, things of that nature. But anyway, I'm gonna let you go. It's always sweet when I get a chance to talk to you guys. I really miss dialoguing and just kicking it. If you have anything that you want to say to me, please comment below. If you have any questions, if you would like me to speak on certain topics, be very specific in what topics those are in my comments, and I will do the research and I'll bring you the knowledge. All right, until next time, have a safe and happy rest of the year. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.